a lot of you tonight. Thrilled that so many of you are here. Thrilled that we're announcing the new season. Thrilled about all the things. For those of you I don't know yet, my name is Rebecca Wallace. I'm the marketing director at City Lights, and I also host our weekly streaming and video series, The Next Stage. We are either here or in Facebook every Thursday night, and we usually are spotlighting specific artists. Sometimes they perform, sometimes they demonstrate, sometimes we have interviews, sometimes they build things, sometimes they run art classes. It's all good. Tonight we have lots of artists, and most importantly, in a minute, I'm going to go away so that you can see Lisa and have her announce the season. But I want to say, first of all, that today I was having the very surreal experience of writing a press release in which I'm announcing some shows that we already announced before and then had to cancel the whole season. So bittersweet. Elizabeth is nodding from Palliative Players. I know you know the feeling. We previously, it was March 5th. Let's go back, shall we? March 5th, 2020. We announced our 2020-2021 series, and we were excited and we were full of optimism. And yeah, so that was going to be the Road to. That was the theme of our season, the Road to. And it was all plays and musicals, drama and comedy designed to sort of take you on a journey through the world. And then there were some detours, and well, that happened. So now we are really excited to announce our new season starting in September, and it is called The Road Home. And Deb Anderson, one of our board members, suggested that, and we thought, what a perfect theme for this season. You're going to see some titles that you've heard us dream about for years. You'll see some titles you haven't heard of before because we've discovered them since then. It's a really exciting mix. I am really thrilled to announce and introduce our fearless leader, Executive Artistic Director Lisa Millette, to tell you a little bit more about what's coming up. Take it away, Lisa.
Hi, everybody. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be looking at. Becky, I'm still looking at you. Does that make sense? I'm just going to look at everybody. There, that makes sense. Hi, now I can see all these faces. So yeah, I thought that was brilliant too. Thank you for that, Deb. Road Home. So I was asking myself today, why are you so nervous? Like, it's just your like 1867th Zoom thing. Why are you so nervous? And then I thought, again, why are you so nervous? Like, a lot of people we've already talked about some of these shows. There are a few repeats. So why are you so nervous? And then I thought, well, it's almost a year and a half of being shuttered, like being closed. So the fact that we're announcing plays that we are actually going to do in a theater, gathering in community together, it is super exciting. And that's why I'm nervous, because we're not just announcing yet another season. We're like announcing, it feels like the first season ever is what it feels like now. And that's why there's like so much joy and anticipation and excitement. And that's why I'm nervous, because we're not just announcing something normal or regular. This feels super different. And I'm also nervous because aren't there like 500 people on this Zoom call? Because that's what that feels like too. I don't know how many people, but it feels like 500. So I was thinking about home and coming home or returning home. And, you know, when you think about that, it's, oh, thanks, Miranda, keeping me honest, 60 people. It's 560 to me.
One person per household, many of the places. So we got a lot of
but I was thinking a lot about home. And of course, I'm a big one for words. I don't know if all of you know that about me, but I like words. I like to look them up. I like to find out like where they came from. And so of course, if you look up home, it's a lot about the structure, right? The house, the place that you live. But if you keep scrolling down, I found a kind of a definition or a description that I felt fits this moment a lot better. So I'm going to read it to you. Home means an enjoyable, happy place where you can live, laugh, and learn. It's somewhere where you are loved, respected, and cared for. So to me, that fits. And to me, that's City Lights. And in reflecting on that even more, as much as I love that awesome converted crazy ass warehouse, and I'm super excited about what Ron and Paulino and Joseph and Rigo did to the place while we've been not there, which I can't wait for you all to see. Really, it's the people. And I think we all know that. What we miss, the home that we miss, that happy place where you can live, laugh, and learn, where you feel loved and respected and cared for, is actually the people, the staff, the artists, the season pass holders, the actors, and all of you on these 3 pages of Zoomland. That's home. You are home, and that's what we're missing. And that's where we're coming home to in this season. So that's what we're celebrating right now. And that's what we're announcing tonight. And that's what's giving me so much joy and making my little handshake. I have a few things to tell you before announcing the shows. One is I just want to jump ahead of it. And a lot of people have been asking me why September. Things are moving so quickly right now, and masks on and masks off, like so many rules are changing so fast. And I've been asked a few times, why not this summer? Why not earlier? And I feel very strongly about this. So I just kind of want to put it out there that September feels right for us at City Lights for a number of reasons. One is it's all happening very fast. And in some ways, it feels like it's happening a little too fast, which makes me kind of nervous. We do want to pay attention and follow the science. And I also think that the science and people's feelings are not always the same. And if you do know me at all, you know that I'm a big one to be tied into people's feelings. So just because you're allowed to do something doesn't mean that all the people are going to feel right doing something. Also, a lot of you on this call are familiar enough with art making to know that maybe we make it look like it's magical, but it's not. Like, if we want to have a show that's any good, we can't just like snap our fingers and there it is. Like, it takes a ramp up, and it takes, we have to rehearse, and we have to like hire carpenters back in and painters, and we have to remember how to do our jobs and all of those things. And oh, thank you, Becky. I love you too. And it's and so we want to do that well, right? We don't want to just throw something up because we can. We want to come back in with excellence and professionalism and love and care and respect. So those are some of the reasons why September feels right. Another one is that that's when our seasons normally start. So there's something sort of, there's something that feels right about that too. And another one that is not as sexy, it's kind of practical, is that if for some reason, because people don't feel comfortable, if we have to perform for 25% capacity, we will lose so much money. And that just doesn't make sense, right? So we really need to think about weighing the risk. And it's also really not that much fun for actors to perform for 20 people in a 100-seat theater. So we're loving September. We're wrapping our arms around that. We're super excited about that. And that gives us plenty of time to make sure everything's safe. We're following all of the rules, and that we have a better chance of people being able to gather together and sit next to each other and feel comfortable doing it, like legally do it and people feel comfortable doing it. So we're really excited about September. And now for a moment, on the safety front, I would like to take a little break and pass it off to Ron to talk a bit more to ease your mind about the safety bits and pieces. On to you, Ron.
Thank you, Lisa. Hi, everybody. It's nice to see people's faces I haven't seen in quite a while. To go off what Lisa said about home, I believe everything that she said and agree with and follow everything she says about what home is. But she also said that home is a structure. And I focused on the structure for the last 15 months. And me and Joseph Hitty and Paulino DeLille and Rigo, whose last name escapes me right now, we did a lot of work. Stuff that needed to be done that had nothing to do with COVID, and stuff that we did particularly because of COVID. I have a list here, and I'm going to read you the list. Not everything we did is on this list. The stuff that you'll find important is. First of all, we did a major cleaning of the entire facility. I mean, every single crack, every corner was dusted or cleaned or painted or swept or whatever needed to be done, we cleaned it, including every single one of the seats in the house. We fixed 26 seats in the house, so now they all go up. You don't hear those little springs every time you put the seat down to sit down. And we cleaned each seat individually and disinfected it. So we did that. This is another big one, and it was amazing. We cleaned all our air vents inside the building. And I'm not going to say any more about that, just the fact that they're clean. and we're working with our HVAC company to allow for, and I have to quote this, for the maximum circulation of clean, fresh, filtered air while not compromising the efficiency of air conditioning or heating. That's an official quote. Moving on, we completed a major overhaul of our backstage area, and the cast of, well, I can't do that yet, can I? Because we haven't announced, so I'm not going to say a damn thing. Wow, I was give that away.
Hey, stop!
Anyway, so our actors and technicians will have a clean, safe experience. We converted all the surfaces backstage to wipeable surfaces, including the seating. We just ripped that whole area apart back there and rebuilt it. That was something that needed to be done. And because we had a pandemic going on, we took the opportunity to do it in a way that it can be kept clean. And there's nothing wrong with having clean surfaces, even when there's not a pandemic. So it was worth doing. We're going to be implementing new procedures in our front of house area. I'm going to say the words clean and safe like a million times, but to maintain a clean and safe environment for our audience members. And there's going to be stricter standards for concessions and more frequent and thorough cleaning of our restrooms. I've installed touchless hand sanitizers, soap dispensers, and towel dispensers in both of our restrooms. And hand sanitizing stations will be throughout the theater. Because again, even without a pandemic, there's nothing wrong with having clean hands. And finally, we will be following all the CDC and governmental guidelines regarding masks and distancing and capacity limits, and we'll always defer to the stricter guidelines. As you know, this changes almost every day. We're jumping up in those tiers, and the color-coded thing is going away on June 15th. I don't know how much of that stuff we're really going to will be required to do in September. But by the time we reach September, we'll do whatever you, the audience, feel comfortable with, and we'll adjust to make sure that you feel comfortable with what we're doing. So I think that's it. That's all I have to say about the building. We also did a lot of other facility stuff concerning storage and just general appearance. And I can't wait for all of you to see what we did. So thank you.
Thank you, Ron. It's amazing, honestly. Like when the staff got to take a peek, with masks on, of course, I couldn't stop crying. Like honestly, I couldn't stop crying. It was amazing. And when the actors see the backstage area in the green room, like it looks like a different place. It's really amazing.
You literally will not recognize it. If you've seen any pictures, you just You don't know that it's in City Lights. It looks completely different.
The green room looks like the set of Art when we did the play Art. That's what it looks like. It's crazy. I'm thinking about moving in, especially after spending this much time with my teenagers. So along those same lines of changes that we're making, we are going to move to reserve seating for the first time in 39 years. That will also help us prepare if we, need to keep you all safe and control where people sit. So I think this is a good thing for a lot of reasons that I don't even need to mention. And that is going to help me segue into why should we become a season pass holder? So bear with me while I just toss all of these things out, because there are a lot of you that already are. And so this will help answer a bunch of questions in one 4-minute segment and like save a bunch of time later. And then it'll also help when you're trying to see if your friends want to become a season pass holder. So I'm going to switch glasses so I don't say anything crazy when I'm reading these things, because I don't write these things. I just read these things. But yes, reserve seating. And of course, if you're a season pass holder, then you get to pick your seats first. And if you already purchased a 2021 season pass that never happened, the season that didn't quite happen, those count. They're going to be automatically moved into. So now I look at the screen and I can't see anything, but I can see these words. That's hilarious. So you don't have to do anything. They've been turned into automatic flex passes, which is basically one season pass is 6 admissions to whatever you want. You use the same code as if that season happened, which it didn't, and you can reserve those seats whenever you want. I will say on a personal note, on behalf of all of us at City Lights, that managed to keep the company going with a lot of support for what will be almost to the day 1.5 years of being closed. That if you were ever thinking about encouraging somebody to become a season pass holder, this would be the best time to do it. So yeah, that would be great. And there's a lot of good reasons to do it. So reserve seating, the season pass prices are not going up, but the single tickets are. So of course it'll be the least expensive ticket ever. There's never any exchange fees. You'll get discounts on all of the other programming that we'll be doing around, including the Next Stage memberships. We're not gonna dump the innovative, cool, creative programming that we found during the pandemic. We're gonna probably not do it as much, but we're not gonna lose it. So the Next Stage and the podcast channel, we're gonna find a way to incorporate it into our main stage season when we're back in, and tie it in and still keep some of that behind the scenes content with the special emails. We love our pass holders so much. Who wrote that? I mean, of course we do. You do automatically get a free buddy pass to bring somebody, just so that you can not spend any extra money and show somebody how wonderful City Lights is. And the other thing that I think is important to tell you is that we are all still working remotely. So we are checking emails and voicemails, of course, but we might be a little bit slower to get back to you for a while. So when you want to start setting up your seats and all of that. And the other thing is that we are hoping to switch, CRMs, like the database thing, the ticketing thing. We've outgrown what we have, and we've realized that. So that'll be a little clunky, I'm going to be honest with you. And it hasn't happened yet, but just be patient with us. It'll be better on the other end. So we promise that we will give you lots of attention through all of that, but it'll be worth it for everybody. Okay, so I guess it's time. It feels like I'm doing a lot of talking, but you know what? After that, I'm gonna not talk, because we have a bunch of artists here to talk after that. So try not to cry. Also, you're going to hear, along with these shows, you're going to hear the producers that are attached to these shows. So producers are basically individuals that are supporting particular shows with gifts, with donations that are going straight to that particular show. And there are different levels, there are different benefits. The benefits are super fun. They're invited to rehearsals. They go out to lunch with the director. You know, it's really neat stuff like that. And it's not too late to be one. So if you are interested in that, I was making a joke that I was just going to say email Anne, but there will be information on the website if you're interested in doing something like that. It is meaningful for us if you would like to support in that way. And this upcoming season, the 21-22 season, is the first time in the organization's history that we actually have season producers. So yeah, it's amazing. It's super exciting. And so a huge shout out to Nancy Coleman and Paul Resch, our first ever season producers, which means that they're supporting all 6 shows. And so we thank them. They're going to be invited to all kinds of rehearsals and all kinds of lunches. And we thank them so much. They're our first ever season producers. They're also visionary producers, Nancy Coleman and Paul Resch, of the first show of the season. We also have producers, Bonnie and Marv Bamberg, like at the final hour, just came in like a racehorse. No kidding, 5 minutes before 8, said that they wanted to be producers for that show too. And the first show of the season, this is kind of meaningful for all of us too, was the show that got pulled with the pandemic. We're going to open the show with the world premiere of Coded by Kirsten Brandt. The show that had to close before it opened. It only got to preview for 2 performances, and it never actually opened. And a beautiful show it was and is. And what I think is so amazing about this is that art, well, I love new work so much, and I love Kirsten Brandt and her voice so much. And what is so cool about this, talk about taking something challenging and making it something amazing, is that Kirsten was like, what do you think about making some changes? You know, what do you think about maybe like adding some stuff about a post-pandemic world? I'm like, yes, I love you so much. So I won't say anything more about that, but Kirsten will have a chance after I announce all of these shows to, unless we're supposed to stop now and talk about Coded. Are we supposed to do that, Becky?
Nope, let's say all the names.
Okay. I'm like, am I doing this right? So I'll let Kirsten talk more about it, but I just think that when you're creating art from scratch like that, that's when you can do things like that, where you can adjust and take in what's happening actually in the moment. And I mean, I'm just like, I just think that that's so fantastic in art making. So I feel so blessed that we have the opportunity to take something that horrible that happened and then not make it horrible and bring that show back. So that's opening the season. The show that didn't get to really open is opening the season. And I just feel like we're being watched over because it's with the same cast. Like, how does that happen? A year and a half later with the same cast. How does that happen? It's magical, right? So I won't say anything else about that one. I'm going to let them take care of that. I'm sorry, I have to have a little sip of water.
We also got the entire design team back for that show too. So it's the same designers.
Also remarkable.
Amazing.
Okay, so the next show is the holiday show. And that show is being supported with love by producers Christy Martin and Cindy Melter, and also by another lovely couple, longtime supporters at the producer level who wish to remain anonymous. And that show will be Native Gardens by Karen Zacharias. And I don't know if, Native Gardens. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, so I'm just going to read the very short blurb. Pablo a high-powered lawyer, and doctoral candidate Tanya, his very pregnant wife, are realizing the American dream when they purchase a house next door to community stalwarts Virginia and Frank. But a disagreement over a long-standing fence line soon spirals into an all-out war of taste, class, privilege, and entitlement. The hilarious results guarantee no one comes out smelling like a rose. So I just have to tell you that I feel like Karen had some kind of foresight that I can't explain, because it was written in 2016. And this play, even though it's not really a holiday show, I was just looking for something that had more joy than sorrow, you know. This play, it speaks to how polarized all the human beings in this nation have become. Not to get political, but you know, that is true. That has happened. And it's over, do you get immigrant plants or native plants? And whose land is this where the fence is? And I just think it's very timely, and I love it. So, and I'm so happy that we got the rights like 36 hours ago. So I didn't have to say, drum roll, please, TBA. So that's our holiday show. And that's a new one. No one knew about that one before, including us. Show number 3 is The Hollow by Agatha Christie. We're gonna do an Agatha Christie. And that one I'm really excited about still, because it's a rollover from our 19th Amendment Women's celebration season. And that one is proudly being supported by our producers, Connie and Paul Boulay. So thank you, Connie and Paul, who are on this call as well. Thank you. And we're very excited about that one. I mean, who doesn't love a good murder mystery, right? And we're going to do some interesting things with that one, so it'll feel very City Lights, like perhaps, even though maybe kind of sort of the lead detective is maybe kind of supposed to be a man, maybe it might end up being a woman, maybe, because it's City Lights, so that might happen. And then show number 4, which again, like, of course, we're excited about all of them. I hate that I overuse that word. I feel like a bell goes off when I say it in my own head. I'm like, stop using that word. This one is supported by executive producers, Sandra Mall and Rick Holden, who I also think have a Zoom box here tonight. And our dear friends, also Rich and Sally Bra. So yay for our producers for this show. And this one took a long time to get to the rights to this one, I'll tell you, is Viet Gone by Quy Nguyen. So I don't know if you guys know this one, but it's a doozy. It has a motorcycle on stage, and this one's really fun. It's a modern hip hop meets 1970s America, in an exciting mashup of history and cultures, and it's crazy. It's funny and sad, and it's irreverent like crazy. Ron keeps calling it a musical. He's like, go ahead, admit it. We are doing 2 musicals, not one. We're doing 2, and it is a very complicated, but fantastic show. Huge too, big. So that's show number 4. And then, you know, close to all of our hearts, very close to all of our hearts. Show number 5 is two world premieres by local playwrights in one season, close to our hearts, and supported by executive producer Toggle Hagen, is Finally Its Time Has Come, Waiting for Next by Jeffrey Lowe. So we've been wanting the world premiere of this puppy for such a long time, and this one made me almost the most sad when that season was canceled, because Jeffrey Lowe is a dear friend of City Lights, a dear friend of the Bay Area. The play has been in development for a long time, and really it's so time for this world premiere, and I'm so glad that we get to do it, and we get to do it. And it's a beautiful, beautiful play, and we have artists here to talk to you about that play too, so I'm not going to say too much about that one. And then the last one, I'm almost done. So this one is this is our big musical, the big summer musical. And it is supported by visionary producer Jim Lewis, a longtime supporter of City Lights, and executive producer Charlie McCullum. Thank you both. It's Fun Home. So we're doing Fun Home. Again, I can't tell you what we had to go through to get the rights to this. And I actually do have to shout out to our very dear friend, Michael Mitnick, for helping. It was really hard to get the rights to this. This is, the music is by Janine Tesoro. The book and the lyrics are by Lisa Crone. And it's based on the graphic novel by Alison Bechtel. And it will run in the summer. And if you haven't heard of it, check it out. And it's also, funny, touching, kind of heartbreaking, and very honest. It's very honest and very real, and very City Lights, actually, in many ways. So if I didn't give you enough reasons why you should be a season pass holder and tell all your friends to do it, I honestly feel like these 6 plays are some really great reasons to do it too. And mostly, I just can't wait to come home and see all of you. And I thank you for all of your love and support. And all of you are really why we made it. I feel like we made it. I know it's not for another few months, but we made it through something that feels impossible to get through. Honestly, feels impossible, but it wasn't. And you had faith in us, and we had faith in each other. And I'm gonna pass it back to Becky now. And I'm also right here to answer any questions, because filled with transparency. Anything that you want to ask, I will answer when that time comes. Okay, thanks. Back to you, Becky.
Thank you, Lisa. Oh, just how about a huge round of applause for the season? So excited. So excited. And it's just a great blend of shows that we wanted to do and couldn't, and then a couple more that we discovered along the way. So it's really wonderful. Yeah, Lisa's here. Also, our general manager, Ann Yonan, is here, who knows all things box office. So she can answer any questions about season passes. Ann is also one of our original cast members of Coded. So here tonight, we have several folks from Coded. We have Kirsten Brandt, the playwright and director, and we have 3 of the original actors who are, thank you very much, coming back: Ann Yonan, Alicia Dame, and Stephanie Wiggum. Welcome, ladies. Now I've got to give you on, so you're somewhere in this mass of people. I'm just going to say hi. Kirsten, let's bring you in first.
Hello.
As Lisa said, hello. As Lisa said, we almost opened the show. We had 2 previous performances, and then we were just about to have opening night. Actually, all of you can answer. Let's just sort of talk generally. This is a fun, informal group. What was it like almost opening, and what are you most looking forward to this fall about bringing Coded back? Anyone from the Coded team, but maybe we start with you, Kirsten.
Oh, I was going to throw it to Stephanie. It was, I think we felt it was coming, and I think we all really wanted to get to that opening night, but we knew for the safety of everyone that it just wasn't going to happen. And so it was really bittersweet. But we did get 2 audiences in, and that was such a gift. Particularly, we build a show for that connection with the audience and to have that interaction, and to be able to have, at least we got that before we got shut down. Not a lot of theaters were as lucky as we were to have that moment happen. And so that it was absolutely devastating and disappointing. because this team, that is all coming back, had worked so hard on a really, I don't think the piece is challenging, but it's a powerful piece about, women in the industry. Oh, look at your picture. Yay.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up a couple pictures as you all talk.
Fantastic. What I'm most looking forward to is continuing to work on it. I don't want to say anything, COVID was, the pandemic is what it is, but because of it, I, as a writer and as a director, got an opportunity to really go, well, what was working, what wasn't, what storylines weren't carrying through? How can I help? How can I fix that? And Lisa being so supportive and saying, yeah, make some changes. So that's really what I'm looking forward to, is really just, the next, point 2.0, Coded 2.0 that's about to happen. And that's very exciting to me.
It's wonderful to have it back. And I was saying, from a marketing standpoint, I'm blessed because I don't usually have beautiful production photos several months before the show opens. Stephanie, Alicia, Anne, tell us about your experience and what you're looking forward to.
Really to echo what Kirsten said, bittersweet, very much. I use that word a lot right after, because it was such a blessing to get those two audiences. And it's true, so many people did not get that, and so I will always cherish those memories of those two audiences and getting that energy. But what we did miss was that being able to settle in and play, because the first part of the rehearsal process is so about hard work and learning the play. And then once you get to opening, then that's when you can really start to settle in and explore and experience the shared energy with the audience and your cast, once the material is really ingrained. So that was the part that we got denied, even though we did get those two beautiful, wonderful preview performances. We never got that exploratory settling in period to get to play. So that's the part I'm going to be looking forward to the most is that that growth and exploration that you get in a run.
Yeah. Hey, before we pass it on, Stephanie, will you tell us briefly about who your character is in the show?
Jerry is a game writer and programmer, and she is coming from a background of some severe trauma with stalker situation. She had a video go viral in which she kind of takes down the patriarchy in the gaming industry, and just a couple of drinks too many in a launch party, and somebody shot a video of her talking about how sexist the industry is, and she was absolutely forthright and absolutely truthful and correct. But the video goes viral, and she endured some intense stalking and harassment as a result of it, so much so that it kicked her out of the industry. So barring, I don't know what rewrites Kirsten has in store for us if these things have substantially changed, but the play of Coded is her starting kind of over, coming back, finding the strength to get back into the industry and restart a company after having been so violently ousted through no fault of her own, except her willingness to, call truth to power. Yeah.
Well said. Well said. Who wants to go next?
I'll say a little something. Hi, I'm Alicia. I play Ash in the show. She's a story writer. Her parents really want her to go to medical school to become a doctor, and she is very much happy working at the company with her little gang and writing stories. And she's kind of strange and neurotic in a great way. But it's funny. I started a journal shortly before COVID hit, totally unrelated. Nothing had happened yet, but I have these entries of the end of rehearsal, and I have these entries that are like, okay, we're like, it looks like we're going to shut down the show, but we should open back up in April. Like all of these really optimistic, like we're going to come back, and then, obviously things happened the way that they did. But I mean, it was, it was, of course it was devastating to have to close the way that we did. However, like I know as an actor, how many times have you like gone through the whole process, done the show, and then you reflect and you're like, I wish I would have made a different choice, or I wish I could go back and do it again. And like, we really get the opportunity to do that. And like, I know that through this time, I've learned so much about myself as a person in quarantine. I've been through a lot of really gnarly personal stuff, but like, I'm really grateful to be able to bring all of this back to Ash as a character and like breathe new life into her with these new life experiences. And I was mentioning this before the Zoom started, but I didn't really play a lot of video games before when we were doing the show initially, but over quarantine, I bought a Switch and, started gaming a little bit. And so now I'm like, all right, like I kind of know a little bit more about what I'm talking about. So I'm so excited and so grateful to be coming back, especially with this stellar cast and crew. Is very cool.
That's great. Thank you. How about you, Anne?
Hi. My character is Chris, and she was Jerry's mentor at the company that she brought her in and hired her, and now she's excited that Jerry is creating a new game, a new way of gaming, a new company that really, Chris always knew it was a boys club and there wasn't a lot of things he could do about it, but she believes that this is that Jerry is on the right track, starting a company that's all women in the gaming industry, which is unusual at all. So there's more, but I won't say too much more about that. And I cried for sure. I just I work for the company, so I'm there during the day when we decide that we're not going to do it, and I'm just sat in one of the theater seats and just bawled. I'm like, nobody talked to me for a minute. I'm over here feeling things. So, and I was, the night that we closed was the same day that my daughter was coming home from college, and she was supposed to see the show the next day on opening night. And we both lost a whole bunch. I lost the opportunity to be in this show, which now I get back. How exciting. But she also lost like her whole rest of her sophomore year and junior year of college practically. So like stayed home until February. So almost the whole year. So it's going to be really amazing to be able to put it back up on its feet and get to work with these amazing women and get to see new words from Kirsten, and just it's going to be fun. I can't wait.
Thank you, Anne. Kirsten, do you want to give us any hints about any changes that we might see to the script? As you said, you were given kind of a rare opportunity to see it on its feet to a greater extent than you would in just a reading.
I would, and I think that, the interesting thing about this whole process has been it is also a gift to be able to go, oh, it's a commission and we are going to produce the show. And so to be able to know that we were producing and not just having a reading. We did multiple readings, but I wanted something just Stephanie had mentioned about, all the work we had put in. The script, I actually went back over the script change log, which is this Excel spreadsheet that I was keeping. Google spreadsheet, but I was keeping that had like every single change. It's epic. It is like its own, it's just huge. And so they were able to just incorporate, we were making changes every day, like, oh, this sounds better, that sounds better. And it was just fantastic to look at that and go, oh, I get to now see what I changed before and look at what I'm changing for this time. But really thinking about what does it mean to come out of this. I think we can't avoid what's just happened with the pandemic, and what does it mean for community? What does it mean to come together? How can that be experienced through virtual reality? And how can we find as Stephanie says, truth to power, and speak our truth through this show. So that's one of the most exciting things for me as I'm retooling it. And they're dying to know what I've changed, so I got to get them a script soon.
Sorry, I muted for a second. I was multitasking. I was listening to you, but I also see that we've got a little hiccup with the website. So apologies to everyone. We're gonna get that taken care of. I can't wait to see the changes. I love watching. It's like being backstage when you see a new work evolving like that. You feel really privileged to be part of the process.
And you do, as Stephanie said, watching them play, to be able to have the time with the audience too. And this time it'll run for a few weeks, and come back and see kind of how it's growing, and the audience response is just going to be phenomenal.
That's great. That's great. Well, we have another group of artists from one of our other shows. Before we move on to them, anything else? Last thing you'd like to say, Kirsten, before we move on?
I just want to say I'm eternally grateful, and I'm so excited. And I just, as Lisa said, as you all have said, it is coming home, and I'm overwhelmed, and I'm going to cry after we get off this call.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Well, since we have 2 world premieres this season, we're also going to talk about Waiting for Next, which has also been waiting and waiting to come back to our stage. And we're really thrilled that we're having it back. So we have playwright Jeffrey Lowe here tonight, as well as the 2 actors, Max Takis and Wes Cabrillo. And it has been a long journey. Again, I don't know where you are on the grid, but I know you're going to pop up. It's been a long journey for, hi, Jeffrey.
Hi.
You've been really working on this play. It's had a number of readings here at City Lights, at Theater Works. Jeffrey, can you start by just walking us down the road a little bit of the Waiting for Next story?
Yeah. Waiting for Next is Max wearing a Warriors jersey. That was yesterday. Waiting for Next is a play that sort of the beginning of the play. The nugget for it was thinking about how, I don't know, as I was moving in my life as a human being, I always felt like I was waiting. I felt like I was waiting for, my life's going to start at some point. Something's going to happen. Something's going to click. And then finally we're going to get started. And then there was a point as I was thinking about all this waiting that I was doing, that like there was a point where I something clicked in my mind. I'm like, I keep talking about how I'm waiting for my life to start, but my life has been happening as I think that I've been waiting. And this is actually what life is. Now, little did I know, as I was working on this play with these 2 amazing actors you're going to meet in just a little bit, that this theme of waiting was gonna become more and more prevalent in all of our lives, by like 15, 16 months worth of feeling like we're just all waiting now. And so this piece is a piece that follows this friendship between two gentlemen, Frank and Marcus, one a white American young man and the other being a Filipino American young man. And we meet them from the start of their friendship when they are just young, school-aged, middle-aged young boys who are waiting for their parents to pick them up at the parking lot. Their parents are both late. And it starts this friendship that spans, we get to talk to them until they're about, I don't even remember, like 45 years old or something like that. And we meet them at different points in their life where they're waiting for something. We think that they're waiting. And then through the 90-minute journey of the play, we see the ups and downs of a life. It's a play about, we see their friendship. We see how they each have their ebbs and their flows, and how they help each other out through really tough times, through really joyous times, and how they're just there for them. And it's just a play that explores friendship, fatherhood, and just what is life. And for me, one of the, as an artist, obviously the audience loves to see the story, but for me, one of the most joyous and most beautiful parts about this this piece is sort of a piece about life and friendship. Art has imitated life in the process of creating this play. So one of the impetuses for writing this piece is Max Takis and Wes Cabrillo, who knew each other a little bit at the start of this process, but probably from kind of afar. I had worked with them both on separate projects a number of times. Wes I've known since college, and they're just 2 of my favorite people, just in general, but also collaborators and friends. And I was just like, I think Max was working at Phil's at the time, and I was waiting for my coffee, And I was like, Max, I'm gonna write a two-hander because you and Wes really need to get to know each other and work together. And also, I just need to write a play for an excuse for the three of us to just hang out together. And little did I know it was going to start this like many year journey where we've traveled to Los Angeles together on a road trip for a workshop of this play. We've of course did our very first workshop at City Lights. We've gone to San Francisco Playhouse. We've gone all over the place with this play, and then right when we thought we were finally going to get to do the show, we were going to open up the 2020-2021 season at City Lights. Of course, the theme of waiting really kicked in when the pandemic happened and we had to sort of put that season on hold. And then what was really interesting is when in talking with Lisa, we were trying to figure out, Lisa, who I'm so appreciative, we were able to, Lisa and everyone at City Lights was so committed to still producing this piece, which I'm so appreciative of. But also the commitment to the artists that we created this with. We weren't going to leave anyone behind, and on theme of friendship and life happening and everything. Our friends, since we started the journey of this play, Max has gotten married. Wes and I are both engaged. Like all of the things that you see in this play are starting to happen for us in our real life. When at different points of the workshop process, essentially we were like single people. and then we just started going through our lives, and you'll see Max in a little bit with another life milestone. But as the milestones kept coming, there was a point where we can't, because we're not the young bachelors that could make decisions and not have to worry about anything else anymore. When we started working on this play, we sort of have to have conversations with many other people about when we can do this play, because of, you'll see in a little bit some life things happening. And I was so appreciative that Lisa said, well, why don't you talk to the guys, and the three of you have conversations with the people you need to have conversations in your life, and let's figure out when we can do this play. And City Lights was dedicated to taking care of all of us. And so I'll let them come on so you can see a little bit of what I mean about the journey of us having to wait and go to maybe wait till show 5 as opposed to anywhere earlier. Are the guys here? Let's see. Max's reason is on camera. There you go.
Yes, here I am. Am I coming surfacing with Max?
There you are.
There it is. All right.
You're all
So Wes, why don't you start? Could you start by telling us your reason for why we had to wait a little bit before we could do the show?
Yes, absolutely. And really with that theme, folks at City Lights, Lisa, Rebecca, thank you all. And Jeffrey, Max and I met, I think a couple of months ago, whatever the timeline was, to just really think it through, because as Jeffrey mentioned, I'm engaged, and my fiance and I were expecting, actually, in late August, a baby boy. So that baby threw really a wrench in this whole waiting for next thing, and it's very on theme, really. But we're excited, and working with Jeffrey and getting certainly Max's insight with sort of a parallel experience, and I'll let Max talk more about that. But really, this is really a play. I mean, even as Jeffrey was saying, through all the ways a play gets developed, I forged what I believe is a really beautiful friendship with Max. That's how I was really introduced to him, and through Jeffrey. And even this place at City Lights, who this would actually be sort of like feeling as a newcomer. I've seen several shows at City Lights and have enjoyed it. I've been in part of so many stage readings, and like when, Ron was mentioning the backstage, I was like, I'm really actually curious now to see this art like backstage area. So I'm just excited, and I was just really, my heart warmed when I realized that this was going to be my first experience being in a full production at City Lights, after seeing several and being a part of the shorts and so many different stage readings, and getting to do it with this work, with Max, with Jeffrey, with the incredible crew that we'll have. I'm so excited, and to be at this point in my life, and just how that all sort of intersects. And it really is a beautiful thing to see how much the art that we are also passionate about really intersects with our own lives and the journey that happened. So I'm very excited.
Max. Max, what have you been up to?
Well, yeah. It's I mean, to Jeffrey's point about what just kind of the crux of what this play is about. You have this really terrific play about friends who are they are the constants in each other's lives as their lives are changing. You know, as they go through a slew of changes and the world changes around them and they change internally. Together they kind of are each other's anchors, right? So to move through life the past 5-6 years that we've been doing this, and as the show has changed, as we've changed personally with it, and having Jeffrey and Wes have the three of us be those constants in the show and in each other's lives. I mean, it really is art imitating life, and vice versa. And when we started this show, you follow these friends through all sorts of milestones from childhood through adulthood. And when we started the show, however many years ago that it was just a 10-minute play, the first scene that we read at City Lights. My wife and I were maybe a year into dating, I think a year, maybe close to it. And by the time this opens, because we welcomed our daughter into the world last month, by the time this show opens, she will be about 10 months old. So you have these crazy, I mean, we've gone through so many steps that we reach in this show, and every time we've done them, then we come back and revisit the show, and it changes. To Alicia's point as well, like you go through life off stage, and then when you revisit this show, you come back with a different energy and a different perspective. And there are passages in this play about fatherhood, about adulthood, and about responsibility, and all sorts of things like that I haven't looked at in about a year. I haven't reread since I've become a father. But I cannot imagine I see them the same way. I can't imagine I'll be performing them the same way. And that's, I think, just something really terrific about how many opportunities that we've had to revisit this show together, the three of us. And City Lights has provided many of those opportunities. And now to bring it to life fully is really, I mean, it's staggering. It's every time we visit the show, we go, this is it. This is the version. We got it now. We make some changes and we go, now it's great. And then we go away and we revisit it in a year and we go, let's make some more. And it just keeps we keep bringing more of ourselves into it. And that's a very rare and special occurrence, you know? So we had to delay it a little bit, obviously, for life things. I can attest there's no way I could put a show I live 10 minutes away from City Lights, and I would not be able to do that, no matter how much help I got. So I'm glad we're delaying to a certain point. I can't wait to start. Yeah, it's going to be absolutely terrific.
It's a beautiful play. I've seen one of the readings. I've watched a video of it, and it is the friendship between the two of you, the way it grows over the play. It's just, it feels so real, which is a testament to all three of you, of course. It's wonderful. So you didn't know each other very well at first. So Jeffrey, you were playing friend matchmaker, it sounds like.
Yes.
Well, we are getting we're getting past 9 o'clock. We usually wrap up around 9:15ish. I think we'll probably go a little bit later so we can make room for audience Q&A. I have one staff member who wants to say a couple quick things about one play. But before we go, Jeffrey, Max, Wes, did you want to say anything more about Waiting for Next?
I just hope you all see it, bring your friends, and just have a great time. I'm just really excited to finally be able to share this piece with everybody in a fully produced way. And also, you know, on theme, I hope I could say this, Lisa, you know, on theme with everything, our director is going to be my mentor, Leslie Martinson, who, again, you know, the past 10 years of my life, the play has been able to grow, and I've been able to grow as an artist to make a play like this because of Leslie Martinson. You know, I spent my early years right after school basically assistant directing. This is all so on theme with City Lights. Assistant directing Leslie Martinson and Kirsten Brandt. It was sort of like the two of them, and I got to learn a lot from them. And it's just I also am so glad to be able to share this with her. It'll be great.
Yeah, I felt like that was important to try to keep that. She worked on so many of the, well, two out of the three of the workshops readings. I just felt like it was important to try to keep that team together if we could make it happen. You know, life happens for her too, but I was trying to keep that team together. And we can also say, if you want to say, Jeffrey, what else are you doing for City Lights this year?
Oh, I'm directing Viet Gone. We're gonna have a great time.
Yes, he is.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, thanks, guys. I'm so excited to see this play again and just see how it continues to evolve. Thank you for being here tonight. I've got one more artist I want to run up here. We've got Carol Alvin, who was here at City Lights. She's our marketing and executive assistant. She's also running all the amazing social media tonight. We did an informal reading of Agatha Christie's The Hollow at City Lights, and Carol was in that reading and particularly liked the play and wanted to say a couple of words about why you should see that one.
Yeah. So I don't even know where to start. So I love Agatha Christie. I love murder mysteries. I think everyone loves a good murder mystery. And the thing that makes The Hollow special is that it's so funny. When people think about Agatha Christie stories, that's at least what I think. It's very dark and dramatic. And this is dark and dramatic, but it's also hilarious. And it has all the Agatha Christie stuff you want. There's an overdramatic movie star. There's a butler that does some cool stuff. There's an old lady that pops in and says funny things. But the entire time, it's also who did it. There's no idea, because it could be everyone, but at the same time, everyone is so nice that it can't be everyone. It's so much fun, and we had such a good time reading it. We just got the whole staff together and a couple friends and sat around a table and read the script out loud, because if you hear something out loud, it can sometimes change the way you think about it. And we all just had a great time with it. And it's a great show. Every character has a moment, which I love. I love a good play that has characters where everyone gets a chance to shine. So I'm really excited about The Hollow. And that's my speech.
Thank you, Carol. You may also recognize Carol. She was in The Wolves in 2019, the soccer play. Thank you. Well, let's open it up to audience Q&A. Does anyone have anything you want to say, you want to ask? You are welcome to type it into the chat. You are welcome to turn your cameras on. You're welcome to raise your hand. All good things. So Dave says, love The Wolves, so great. Yes, yes, yes. Any questions from anyone? My question is, will Maria stop smiling tonight? Because I see Ms. Maria Marquez smiling her face off over there.
You can't tell me to stop smiling. I'm too happy. I'm smiling, I'm crying. It's all happening at the same time. And I will not stop. It's going to keep happening all night, even after I log off.
And you will probably recognize Maria from many shows at City Lights, including Silent Sky, my absolute favorite. Yay. Any questions from anyone? Charlie's raising his hand.
Yeah, well, I just thought we should tell people, you know, are we going to get, those of us who are season pass holders, are we going to get emails explaining how to go online and reserve our tickets? Or how is that going to work with, you know?
Oh, well, I'm sure you will get an email that Becky will wonderfully put together. But the seating map is already in place, although single tickets, so even for the ability to set up your seats or dates right now is not active, not live. That will happen for season pass holders. It will happen on June 7th. And for the rest of the plebes in the world, it will also known as our wonderful single ticket buyers. It'll happen on June 21st. Is that right? Okay, so 2 weeks later. So you guys all get all season pass holders get the first crack at the seats. I will say that the way our system works and the best way we feel is that your seats don't follow you throughout the season unless you set your dates up all at the same time or quite early at the start of the season. So if you prefer to wait and set up your dates later on, you may not get the same seat that you always do, but you still will get a good seat because there's no bad ones at City Lights. So
Thank you, Anne.
You're welcome.
I see a question in the chat. Thank you, Anne, from Gloria Stanley. Hi, Gloria. Gloria, many of you saw in the Heights. She was our wonderful Abuela Claudia, and she also did an evening of song and piano, well, with her husband playing the piano on the next stage. So we love Gloria. Oh, Gloria has a serious question. I should stop smiling. Jeffrey Lowe, in light of the horrible victimization of Asian people, will that kind of scenario be in Waiting for Next? Interesting question.
Thanks for that question, Gloria. I don't anticipate that piece being a part of that play, but I will say, City Lights is one of many amazing theater partners. We are doing a different play that I'm working on producing a different play called Writing Fragments Home, that there's a number of theater companies that are partnering in to be a fundraiser for an amazing local organization called Compassion in Oakland, which has been providing chaperones for the elderly Asian American community in Oakland and in San Francisco, and they've actually been expanding to San Gabriel Valley. And so it's an amazing conglomerate of theaters that are all pushing this piece. TheaterWorks Silicon Valley, where I work, is the primary producer. City Lights is one of the presenting partners, all the way to Oregon Shakespeare Festival, Theater Moo in Minneapolis. Like, it's just a wonderful thing. So I hope that everyone's able to check out information on that to support the challenges that are happening within the Asian American community at the moment. But thank you for that question, Gloria. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Gloria. A lot of important work, Jeffrey, definitely. I see some questions in the chat. People are asking about the show dates. All the show dates are selected. We didn't say them because we've already had a lot to say and we're going to be here all night. So they're up on the website. cltc.org/season pass is the direct link for where you go to buy your season pass. And you also get all the information about the show's dates. We've broken out the preview shows specifically in the dates just to make life a little bit easier. The first preview is still pay what you can. Then there's the lower price preview, and then opening night and the full run. Yep, that's right. Oh, thank you, Carol. And Carol also put a link up to the season page, which has the graphics and the summaries of the shows as well. Rick Boyle, thank you all. So glad I tuned in. It's heartwarming to see you and hear from you. Thank you, Rick. This program is being recorded, as I said, and it's going to be on YouTube later. So sometimes I read the comments out because the YouTube people won't see them. Gloria says, I'm so excited for you and your team. Oh, we are so excited. Lisa, I bet you've got more to say, huh?
Doesn't it all feel kind of surreal, like, to everybody? I mean, my cheeks hurt from smiling so much because tonight, honestly, is the first time it sort of feels real to me. Like, hearing you all and seeing your faces, and I'm like, wow, we're really doing this, aren't we? Like, this is really happening. But it all just feels surreal. I've had people in the last week or so, even just in a board meeting today, we started talking about when are we going to have our next in-person board meeting, and I was like, what? We're not doing that. Like, what do you mean? It's that I think this transition after so long is going to be awkward and bumpy, and I don't think you go from 0 to 60 overnight. I just think that we as human beings adapt, and we had to adapt to this weirdness. Like, we had no choice. And I just think we're all going to have to be extra loving with ourselves and each other, and extra patient and extra understanding that we're all going to be super awkward for a while. And like, I'm not socially awkward, actually. I'm like one of those people that you hated in high school that gets along with everybody and was super popular. And I don't feel popular right now. I feel super awkward. Like, and so I just think that that we're just going to have to ease in and be really loving with ourselves and each other. And before you know it, we will adapt back, and we will adapt back. And now I'm going to cry because I can't wait to adapt back to being together and to adapt back to physical contact. I mean, there will be definitely more consent, but I just can't wait to adapt back to gathering in community again. Like, I feel like I've gotten used to being alone, and how sad is that? But it's out of preservation. So I guess what I want to say is I have missed gathering together and making art together so very much. And this little bit of talking about it and it feeling like it's actually going to be a reality, it has gotten me like beyond excited. And now I'm talking about these plays and like Kirsten and Jeffrey, I'm just like, oh my God, these artists that wrote these words, and like there's Max and Wes and there's Stephanie and it's going to be here in a flash. Has anybody noticed how fast time is flying right now? Like in the beginning, it felt like molasses, and now I just feel like it's zipping by so fast I can't stop it. So like pretty soon it's going to happen. We're gonna be together again soon, like pretty soon. And I just am so thankful that look at how many people came to this tonight. I'm so thankful that so many people stayed believing in it. You know, you didn't all just switch to Hulu. You know, it's not like Netflix forever, like, you know. So I'm just in love with all of you right now, and I'm emotionally exhausted. and I can't wait to get back, but I'm also nervous. So be patient with me if I'm dorky in the beginning, and be patient with yourselves.
We're supposed to be dorky.
I think we're all going to be extra dorky for a while, and that's okay. That's okay. But I really, really thank everybody for coming tonight, and tell everybody about City Lights. We're going to have a couple of years of recovery mode, and that's okay too. And it took me a little bit to like let go of, well, I don't get to say 16 years in the black anymore, but you know what? That's okay. We're all still here, you know, and we're all going to be making art, and it's okay. It's okay. We're just going to come back together and make some more art together, and everything's going to be okay. So I love you. I don't know if anybody has questions, because I sounded like I just ended it.
It's
because
okay.
I tend to do that. But
well, there's one more.
Right.
What if one more, and I think we'll wrap up because people are turning into pumpkins. Some. I have a question in the chat from Nancy, and Nancy wants to know whatever happened with the situation where you were maybe going to lose the lease to the building for a development.
Oh yeah, that old story. So that's still happening. It just keeps getting pushed off. That's still happening. I mean, you know, it's funny. I feel like a broken record with that whole thing, because someday a bulldozer is coming. I've been saying it for 8 years, and it's like, hurry up and wait on that, you know. The building has been sold. So those parcels, quite a few pieces have been sold by our landlord. He is still part of it somehow, some kind of an investor. I have made friends with the developer. You know, I'm friendly, so I think that's a good thing. But it's Gary Dillabo. I'm sure he has no problem with me saying that. And his partners, but there's a lot of property that he's involved with right now, and I don't think that block is on the top of the list. So, and then there was a pandemic, and that only happens once every 100 years. So I think that block kind of got pushed down, you know, down the list a little bit. And they've been very gracious. We have not been paying rent. I mean, we're not using the building. Come on. So they've been good about that. That has not been a problem. And that dog park next door, if anybody has seen that, I mean, I think that's really helped the blight on that block. So it sounded a little weird, like dog park. Okay. But it seems like just having people paying attention to that block has been helpful. And Ron has been really good about keeping an eye on things, even though we're not doing plays there right now. Eventually it's gonna sneak up. Like eventually we're gonna have to have a capital campaign, but I'm trying to stay in the conversation so that whatever does happen there, that we're still a part of whatever that is. And I live my life with a certain amount of faith and belief that as long as we stay a meaningful part of the community and do the right thing, and that whatever happens will be the right thing. So I think there will be city lights, because I think a city lights is important to the city of San Jose, the 11th largest city in the country. So I feel like that it will work out somehow. Well, will it be on that same footprint? I'm not really positive, but maybe it'll be a better footprint. The good thing is it's not coming down on us right now. Like it's not pressing down, thank goodness, because now I'd really like a couple of years to get out of like the debt that we have incurred during the pandemic, which of course we did. I mean, we haven't done a show for what will be a year and a half. So that makes sense. I don't think that City Lights should feel badly about that. So I'm glad it's not coming. It's not right here, but it will happen at some point. But I think it will work out. But someday there'll be a capital campaign and such. But maybe it'll look different then. Like everything looks different now. Maybe it'll be maybe it won't be that same old kind of stuffy, kind of boring, kind of officious, bureaucratic capital campaign. Maybe it'll be more fun. I see people in the boxes like totally like laughing at me right now. I mean, with love, but everybody's like, what does a fun capital campaign look like? I don't know, but everything feels different now. Does that answer the question?
Yes, Max, fundraiser. Yes, Manuela says, love your optimism. We all do. Thank you so much for being here tonight. This was really so much fun. This was just it was joyous. Right, Lisa? That's a word you'd use.
Yeah,
It was joy.
I do. I use joyous. Everything should be joyous, right? I mean, there's a couple of things I've learned out of this past year and a half. Is you had to look for that joy. I had to find that joy. And if you're not feeling it, find it, right? Because life's short.
Thank you again.
Thank you for coming.
We're going to be back here in the Zoom next week. We have a multi-instrumentalist musician who plays just about everything you can imagine. His name is Alex Arango, and he is very inspired by the rhythms of Colombia. That's his native Colombia. And so he plays every instrument. The first thing I asked him was, is there anything you don't play? And he was a recipient of the Lee Weimer's Emerging Artist Award, which is how I found him. And he'll be right here in the Zoom next week. So I hope you can join us. Thank you all. Have a wonderful night, and we can't wait to see you back at the theater. Good night.